Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, and this is the Ramsey Show Aftershow number, what is it, number 573 today. Fun times. And we have audio works, which is good, I find. You're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney. I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And for my financial content, just scroll past the Oak Island and Skinwalker Ranch playlists, and you'll see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist and the Answering Your Financial Questions. That is an 8 p.m. stream. Because of my job, I cannot do an after show every day, and so on most of the days when I can't do an after show weekdays, I will do the 8 p.m. stream as well as weekends. Not necessarily every weekend day, but normally at least one weekend day I will do that. And the music playlist has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. So such hits as How to Do the Baby Steps Right. So enjoy those. What did I do, right? Oh, there we go. I just screwed up my tabs. Put them in the wrong order. Market report, and as you can see, mostly down today. Nasdaq barely up, but again, another instance of the Nasdaq being up higher than the S&P 500. All you S&P 500 people, y'all working my nerves with your little crap, not trying to make more. So not only does the Nasdaq make more, 18 out of the last 20 years, but also my large cap managed fund makes more than the Nasdaq index, which makes more than the S&P 500. So if you're just doing S&P 500, you are leaving money on the table. So knock yourself out. Again, S&P 500 better than nothing as far as investing, but you are leaving money on the table. Let's see, earnings coming up. Circle Internet Group, CoreWeave, never heard of them, and those are tomorrow. What's up today out of the most followed single stocks on the Google? Of the six, only Microsoft is up, and that's 0.7%. No, Tesla as well, 3.77%. Let's see what the rest of the planet is doing, mostly down in Europe, all up in Asia. The US dollar is up against the euro, up against the Japanese yen, up against the British pound, love, up against the Canadian dollar, and up against the Australian dollar. So it's a clean sweep for the United States dollar. And again, it holds true normally when there's a down market day, which it is overall here. Down market day, the dollar is generally higher than almost every other country. Let's see what else. Let's take a look at the don't have any specific articles, but let's take a look at the headlines. Ford announces $2 billion investment in Louisville assembly plant aimed at cheap electric vehicles. Alrighty then. What Trump's NVIDIA and AMD China deal means for the world. What you talking about? CNBC. Oh, let's just see what that is. NVIDIA, AMD have agreed to pay 15% of revenues from chip sales to China to the U.S. government, the White House confirmed. Oh, okay. So interesting. So that would be like, instead of extra tariff to China, the companies Nvidia and AMD, they're going to pay that for China. So there you go. Analysis said the deal is still positive for both AMD and Nvidia. Of course it is, as they get access to a huge market. Of course, it's huge. Lots of Chinese. The arrangement crafted by President Donald Trump's administration is unusual, analysts told CNBC. Well, that's probably a good thing in Washington, D.C., for something to be unusual, because most of what goes on there seems to be dumb crap. Let's see. Wall Street Journal: U.S. marches towards state capitalism with American characteristics. Okay, don't know what all that's about. Golf carts have taken over suburbia. Cue the resistance. All right. EasyJet captain suspended after getting drunk and naked in hotel. Well, you don't want to do that if you have to like fly the next day, probably. AOL to discontinue dial-up internet service. They didn't stop that already. They already had that. There were people insisting on still having that. I mean, I guess there's areas where that's probably the only thing that they can do. But I guess now it's at a point where it's not worth it for them to keep offering that service to just those few people. What does Palantir actually do? That's a good question. They are a technology company, I believe. I thought they were, let's check it out. I thought they were, at one time, I thought they were, a pharmaceutical company, but they're a data broker, data miner, giant database, personal information. Okay, so that's where all our information is. Very nice. Home buyers taking back power in housing market, and somebody in the chat hashtag mentioned that today. In the Ramsey Show chat, that they got a lower price on a house, and also the rates are a little bit lower as well, like 5 point something. So I don't know necessarily that means taking power. So sometimes, you won't believe this, but sometimes news organizations exaggerate in titles. FBI warning: do not reply to these texts on your smartphone. How about like any that you don't know who sent it to you? How about that? That would be great. And like, for example, even if your bank name does text you, I'm not replying to that. I'm not calling the number that's in that text either. I would log on my computer, not my phone at all, even on my computer, to the bank website, and if there's an issue, there should be a message for you right there on your main page on the bank website. And these are just, what did I want to look for? Let's see, is NVIDIA is up 0.19%. All right, hashtag NASDAQ. Is it going up? Oh, it's up again. Look, 0.16. Now it was 0.00 something, and now it's up higher. Still overall down today, though. This is 0.013. That's S&P 500. The Dow Jones, though, minus 0.32, and so that is more than all the rest of these added up, including the only positive one, the NASDAQ. So yeah, don't sleep on the NASDAQ or large cap managed funds for sure. That way you don't leave money on the table. Let's get into some questions. Please like, subscribe, do all the things. The like button is that thumbs up button, by the way, in case you didn't know that by now. In case you're brand new to the YouTube. Let's see, 24 man, Jacob Elf, maybe. Like Buddy the Elf. This is Jacob the Elf. 24 man, no clue what to do with my money. Well, there's baby steps. For married, we have no kids, probably $40 worth of credit card debt, or $40,000, and $65K in a high yield savings account. We don't know what the hell to do. All right, that escalated. And it's been like a year of us not knowing what to do with our money. We're so torn. Nothing's fine, I'm torn between buying a house or starting or buying a business. Yeah, so that's the thing. You have to decide what you want to do. And you definitely have to have somewhere to live. You don't have to start or buy a business. That is completely optional. You can work for someone else, and theoretically, that's what you're doing now, so you could keep doing that. So people are nutty when not everybody should be a business owner, just like everybody should not be a landlord. So, don't be dumb, but these people don't know what they're doing, I guess. 24, I mean, still young for sure. So you can't do everything all at the same time. So you definitely can't buy the house and start a business at the same time, unless the business can be started with just you working in it, meaning it requires no money to start up. You don't need a business location. You don't need to rent a shop, that kind of thing. If you can just do it like lawn service, you can just do it and use your lawnmower, and then that just takes your time. It doesn't take any, have any cost, except of course like gas for the lawnmower, oil, whatever, for that. But that you would pay that out of what you're charging the customers as well. We pay $2,400 a month expenses, and our collective take home is $56,000 to $6,000. Okay. We put away about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. We live frugally, but still enjoy movie theater, dinners, etc. And you shouldn't be doing that while you have $40 worth of credit card debt, or $40,000, whichever one it is. I'm just seeing how much the dollar has inflated and how Bitcoin and gold have gone up. Just worried I should be taking some risk and investing. We live in Portland, Oregon. Okay, that's not the cheapest. How are you only doing $2,400 a month in expenses in Portland? Portland's not the cheapest at all, so I would have questions about that. Also, if this is just 40, you pay it off and you close your credit cards and you don't do debt. You're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit, and Mr. Ramsey is the no debt guy, by the way, in case you were wondering. And so you would not have 40,000, let's say this is 40,000, because, why would you mention $40 of it? Why would you have 40? That doesn't even make sense to me, is why you would have such a low amount of debt, even if you were going to do debt. Maybe they've been paying it off. Don't know. Anyway, but assuming it's 40,000, you would not also have be debt leveraging that in order to have the $65K in a high yield savings account. You would not be doing that. That is dumb. You would do the baby steps. Step 1, $1,000. Got it. Step 2, pay off all your non-mortgage debt, and that's 40 or 40,000, whichever one. And so you would pay that off, and then it's the full emergency fund. And so if this is only $40 worth of debt, then you probably are immediately on step 4. Congratulations. And that would be investing. But, or in between the investing and step 3, which if it's $40, they're already done with step 3, and it would be step 3B is where you would save the down payment for a house. And I would prioritize probably buying a house rather than starting a business. Again, unless it's not going to take any money, because there's no borrowing money to start businesses. And so you would have to cash flow any expenses for the business. So trying to do both at the same time, buy the house and do that, and invest, that can be daunting. So Mr. Ramsey allows you to not invest at all for up to 2 years while you save a larger down payment faster. And so the baby steps tell you exactly what to do. Now, it doesn't say don't start a business. It doesn't say to start a business either. So you have to have some common sense and realize that it will be difficult to do two things with money. So again, I don't know if the don't know what the debt is, whether it's $40 or $40,000, and don't know if the business that they're thinking about. And it could be just, I think about how dumb I was at 24. I had no idea. They may have no idea what kind of business they want to go into or buy or anything. And buying a business, that's a no. You don't have any money to do that. And you're not taking out a loan to buy a business. No, and no, and no. So quit being dumb. You especially can't be in Portland where it's pretty expensive there. Although $2,400 seems like not bad expenses. So do the baby steps is of course always the advice, and the extra part here is about starting a business. No, I wouldn't do that. I would, again, only if you can start it in your spare time, and then eventually maybe that side business will bring in enough money that you can do that full time and you don't have to work at whatever job you're working at now. Otherwise, just work for the man and give up trying to be the man, because being the man is not for everybody. Coastal Koi, balance house repair fund with debt payout off. Okay, like I said last night when I previewed the question and just talked about it for a couple seconds, repairing something is fine. Remodeling something is a different thing, and the average person, of course, posting on here is going to call it a repair as part of a little justification station here. Everybody loves to justify their dumbass money decisions when they know darn well that's not the Ramsey advice. Anyway, let's see. I-33 female. I have a complicated financial picture. Probably not. Probably not. Your little situation is not special. It doesn't make you an exception to any of the Ramsey advice. It's still going to be the same advice, and that's the beauty of it. It doesn't change based on your little situation, which is the best thing. Let's see, and not much support on unraveling the contradicting priorities. So, well, you are the one that set the priorities. You have to be the one that does that. So if they're contradicting, that's your fault. You're trying to do too many things at the same time. So I've come to you, the fine people of the internet, all right, to see what insight and thoughts you may have. I'm fairly financially savvy. I'll be the judge of that. If you were, you could find a way to balance house repair fund with debt payoff. And you wouldn't, unless you needed to, you wouldn't have a house repair fund. You would have an emergency fund, and if something is broken, if you have like a leak in the bathroom, then you would use the emergency fund if you couldn't cash flow the repair. Now, a remodel, again, is a different thing, and that's what a lot of people are doing when they just say repair on here. Let's see, and maintain detailed accounting budget records. So you know the numbers as well, so what's the problem? The problem is probably that you're doing it wrong, and you know darn well you're doing it wrong. And so that's probably the problem, as I believe will become evident. We shall see. Oh, good, a backstory. Backstory's back. All right, what up, Sid? Sid's back too. Good to see you, Sid, as always. Where were we? Backstory, my father, who I love and take care of, but we are not close. All right, that's sad. Almost lost his home to foreclosure, so to keep it in the family, I worked with my mother, who agreed to loan me the money in a formal second mortgage. All right, well, that is something that you should not have done. You do not borrow money unless it's your residence. You do not borrow money, and also you don't borrow it from your mother. Friends or family. No, that is a way to destroy a relationship with friends or family. You're already not close with your dad. And this loan could ruin your relationship with your mom as well. So you may be financially savvy, but you're not overall savvy. Overall, pretty dumb. I was brought on title as joint tenant with the right of survivorship. Okay. Probably none of that. You probably should do none of that. Found a place for my father to move to and moved in, assuming full financial liability. Oh, so the father is out of the house. So why did we want to take the cloud? Why did we want to save the house from foreclosure? Why? Why did we want to do that and get involved in that? He's still first on the title. I regret this now. Oh, you think? And the mortgage / home insurance still in his name. Yeah. This stinks to high heaven, lady. This is not something somebody financially savvy would do. So you overestimate yourself. Note that the house is large. Nice house with a pool, but with 3 T's. There was a lot I needed to do to make the house livable. So this is why you shouldn't have done any of this crap. He smoked inside, was a hoarder, had 14 cats living on the property. The garage was a grow. I don't know what that means. Growing plants in there? I don't know. The pool had a tree that fell into it years ago, I guess, and was empty, etc. So I took out a HELOC to make it livable while making $40K a year in the public sector. All right, ma'am, with all due respect, you are a dumbass. In terms of income, thankfully, it's gone up the last 6 years. I have rental income from renting out rooms in the home and have my single paycheck income. Take home is $6K monthly. My income is generally set. I kindly request to not here to find another high-paying job, as I recently did that to get my current income. You can request all you want to, but this is the internet. This is the Wild West here. People are going to say, get a higher paying job if they want to. In terms of debts, I have my 2 mortgages. Yeah, none of that you should have. None of that. And you had student debt anyway, so you shouldn't even have your own mortgage at this point before you pay off the student loan. So everything you're doing is wrong. And haven't played that in a while. So let's do that. And that would be, of course, Janosch from Ghostbusters 2. Actually, everything you're doing is bad.
Smart. If everything you're doing is bad, I want you to know this.
Yeah. So pretty dumb. So, but what's the question though? I have a set income and I'm trying my best to get out of debt. I budget heavily, so typically my allowance I allocate myself per month is around how much I put towards debts. That should not be equal. 30% of my income goes to housing. I give myself an allowance of about 30% of my income, and the remainder I balance between debt and savings. 30% to blow as blow money is too much, lady. Typically around 1,600. If I follow Dave Ramsey, the Dave Ramsey process, you would be in much better shape if you undid all this stuff as well. Although I don't know what you would have to do to get out of it with the way that you structured it. It would take until early 2029 to pay off all my debts. Right. And that is more than 3 years. I mean, it's not the mortgages themselves wouldn't be, but you wouldn't have the second one anyway. You wouldn't have two mortgages, a mortgage on your house and on your dad's house. You would not do that. So it's time to sell houses and get rid of it. So get rid of the, I don't care if the rental you're getting from the rent on your house, I don't care if that is paying the mortgage. You need to sell that to take that debt away from you. And the issue is that I will need a new roof, 20K, in about 2 years. How do you know what's going to happen in 2 years? And a new car in that period, but hopefully not for another 3 years. How do you know? How do you know when your car is going to die? You don't. You're just making up crap. And that's what you've done this entire time. You're making up things that justify your dumb decisions. That doesn't even include trying to save for having a child in this economy, question mark, in this economy. I've heard this economy from people in calling the Ramsey show, even going back so far as to the 90s. So shut up with your whining. Shut it up. Shut up with the in this economy crap. This economy is what you have to deal with. That's reality. So shut up whining about it. You don't get a break because you say this economy or because you want to have a child. You do not get a pass on the math, and you are dumb as crap doing everything you have done. My question to you, the Ramsey devotees of read it, it's Reddit, not read it, is not in individual numbers but more broad mindset. Should I take my time with my debts and balance saving in high yield savings account? No, you do not do that, and you know darn well already, you know the Dave Ramsey advice. You're not that stupid. For these larger costs I will incur within the next 5 years, and again, we don't remodel the house. You would just repair it, and I wouldn't even do that because your name's not on the title, you dumb. Anyway, or should I focus on paying down debt even if I need to rack it back up? No, the racking it back up, that should be off the table. So you're doing it wrong. So you can do whatever the crap you want to do if you're not going to follow the Ramsey advice. Just do your same dumb stuff and don't ask anybody. What kind of answer are you looking for here? I'm trying so hard to get out of the cycle of debt. Well, try harder then. No, you weren't, because you took on your father's mortgage to keep the house, even though he's not going to be living there anymore. You dumb. Oh my goodness gracious me. Got myself into a house poor situation. Yes, you did. And that was dumb as crap. And can't get out until he passes. Then could consider, even if it's the millennial American dream. I'm happy for any input and to provide numbers if anyone is curious. Thanks for your time. The answer, as always, is to follow the Ramsey advice, and you have not followed one bit of it. So that would be the advice. So dumb. So dumb. So dumb. So dumb. I can't call insurance while feeding the baby, so I'm here instead. All right, I will. I'll take that as a win. Sid, I will take that as a win. So that is an advanced move. Make an insurance call while feeding the baby. It's an advanced move. Maybe you'll be able to do that at some point. It's all over. Again, the psychological benefits of being debt-free are highly overstated in my experience. Yeah, let's see what dumb crap is going on here. You know, I mean, that's great. That's your experience and your opinion about it, how it makes you feel. And that's fine. It can make you feel however you want. What difference does that make to the rest of us? I'm debt-free and don't feel good about my financial situation at all. I feel miserable about being a low-income earner. Hey, guess what? That's a you problem. That means you need to get a higher job and quit being a dumbass and quit trying to talk about the psychological benefits of being debt-free. Do you not think, being a low-income earner, do you not think that you are better off financially by not having any debt? Of course you are. Quit being dumb. So many people are dumb today. Making me mad today. I mean, I get exasperated by it because people do such stupid stuff. But actually, I mean, these two today just making me mad because they're so dumb. They're so dumb. Having low earnings potential. Hey man, that's your fault. Make yourself better. Find something that you can do better. That's something that's more up your alley, maybe, that you are suited to do, that brings in more money. You know, whatever has happened to you in the past, you just have to deal with it. And how you got in this situation, you obviously didn't do something right, and so now you just have to do the best you can with what you have. And again, being a low income earner and being debt free are a good match, because guess what? If you were a low income earner and you were not debt free, guess what? Your freaking finances would be worse. I remember when I first got out of debt after college, I really didn't feel good about it at all because of my low income potential. Well, you were a dumbass for going. I mean, did you graduate? Did you get a degree? Was it in something dumb? And that was your fault for being dumb. So you just got to take that one and say, that's my bad. I was dumb. This is all my fault. I'm not going to go on to Reddit and whine about it. I'm going to make it better somehow. I can't understand why so many that follow Dave feel so optimistic once they're debt-free, because they're in a better situation. No matter what, even in your little situation where you don't make that much money, you are better off being debt-free because you don't have any debt. And so your finances are better than if you were a low-income earner, which you are. And you also had debt on that. You don't think your financial situation has improved? If you don't, you're dumb. Even if your income doesn't go to debt anymore, it still goes to increasing pricing, shelter or transportation or healthcare or food. Well, you decide what you're buying. You decide where you're living and how much you're paying for that. You are the one that decides that. You do not have to buy expensive food or expensive shelter. Or expensive transportation. You do not have to do that. Quit being dumb. Quit whining. If you don't make enough money, make more. I got a great idea. Even if you are, let's say, low income earner is all you can do. There's no way you can rise above that. Then work freaking 60 hours a week then, you dumbass. Curious Package 9429. What would Dave say? I have a friend who is a middle manager accountant. He has a CPA and other certification. He manages a team of accountants for a large company. He's worked 15 years to get where he is. He's a decent accountant, but by his own admission, out of practice and was never actually the best, but he's good with people. His entire department was laid off last week. He's got to get a job then, of any type. The left The left 50 people, maybe they left 50 people still working, I guess, out of something like 1,000 plus. Okay. They basically replaced a huge chunk of the organization with AI. The ones that are left are the cream of the crop accounts. They're going to QA the quality assurance the AI's work. Okay. My friend not being one of them. He told me that nobody on his team was retained, that him and, yeah, well, you got to get a job. It doesn't matter. It does no good to try to blame the company or anything like that. Don't be dumb is the short version of my message to people. Don't be dumb. None of that. You don't control any of that. So let's see, that him and his whole team were all let go in the same meeting. Sure. Apparently the QA jobs are garbage too. Metrics up to wazoo. You have to, okay, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Whatever documents per hour, or you get put on PIP. I don't know what PIP is. Probation, double secret probation. I don't know. This is actually my second friend who is let go and replaced with AI. Another friend was a marketing guy. Okay. And what would Dave tell my friend to go do? Another job. Dave doesn't know what other things the person can do. Maybe he can be an accountant for somebody else, or Dave doesn't know what he can do. And the team of accountants that no longer have work. All right, well, you don't have to worry about the whole team because you don't know them. I understand worrying about your friend, but the friend has to get a job doing something. We can skip the whole emergency fund discussion. My friend has zero debt and net worth greater than $1 million. Okay, so that's not the issue. The issue is he can't retire yet, and there seemingly aren't any AI-proof white-collar jobs. There might not be. Okay, so you have to do something non-white collar then. Imagine that. We can't all be plumbers. No, but you can do something that's not white collar. Quit being dumb and painting yourself into corners with stuff like, we can't all be plumbers, justification station. People love to justify their BS. Don't do that. So, zero debt and a net worth greater than 1 million, why can't he retire yet? The net worth, I mean, okay, so here's what might have to happen. So if his net worth is greater than $1 million, and he is going to have to take a lower paying job, then he might have to sell his house and move down in house. And if that zero debt includes no mortgage on that house, and the house is the better part of the $1 million net worth, then you can get a lot of money for that house, and then you invest that and you let that generate income for you. And so it says greater than $1 million, so let's just pretend that we can put $1 million into the market, and then that generates on average $100,000 a year. And if you can't live on that, you got problems, even with paying rent somewhere or buying a much smaller, cheaper house. But the issue is that he can't retire yet, and he doesn't have to. He can keep working, but that's the answer there. We can't all be plumbers, so that's the answer there. But see, this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing. These people, maybe the accountant himself, but definitely this friend, doesn't even consider the fact that, oh, well, if he's not going to be making that much money now, then he can't afford to keep that house, even though it's paid off completely. And that is an asset, and you can use that asset to your benefit by selling it and then buying a much cheaper house and investing the difference, and that would bring in some income. So basically, that would be almost, you would think, it depends on how your finances are, but you could possibly be semi-retired now and just work part-time, that kind of thing. So the net worth greater than $1 million, it just depends on what the net worth is in. So I don't know that it's the mortgage, but I'm just assuming. And the zero debt could be, again, non-mortgage debt instead that they're talking about, and still has a mortgage. So if there's a mortgage on that property, then even more likely you have to sell it. But there are things you can do. But the first thing, of course, would be to get a freaking job instead of just sitting around waiting for another accounting job to land on your doorstep. Performance improvement plan. Sid knows the corporate jargon. Should have known. She would know. Competitive pay 903. Has anyone ever regressed in their lifestyle to get out of debt and save money? Yes, and that's what everybody should do. You should be gazelle intense in steps 1, 2, and 3. You do step 1, 2, and 3, one at a time in that order without doing any higher steps, one at a time. And so you should be gazelle intense. No eating out. Very little fun money in the budget. Just quit being dumb. No dumb stuff. Only things that are 100% necessary to live, meaning you don't have to buy an item of clothing every single week like some people think you need to do. And you definitely don't need to keep a brand new truck that you just bought recently. You sell that and you take the loss on whatever the negative equity is in it, and you get rid of it and you buy a beater, and that puts you in a better financial situation. Just like the dumbass that thought he wasn't in a better financial situation by being out of debt because he's a low income earner. Whang. My fiance and I are considering moving back in with our parents. Mr. Ramsey does not advise. And honestly, to be honest, it's breaking my heart. You'll live. We've been living together for most of our 3-year relationship, and now we're in a bit of a financial hole. Hey, what happened? Did you spend too much money? Did you go into debt? Maybe you shouldn't have done that. But now you just have to accept the reality of that. Yeah, I was a dumbass, and you embrace that. I was a dumbass myself, and guess what? I accepted it, forgave myself, and then made it better. Not a huge one, not a huge financial hole, but there's a little bit debt, okay? Of is a word that we use in between bit and debt. I'm starting school in late August, and I know I won't be able to support myself. Don't start school then. And it's going to be really hard for him to carry the entire household financially. Don't start school then. Delay that till you get your financial situation set. Rent, bills, groceries, and you shouldn't be living in together anyway. You're doing it wrong. Real rent, bills, groceries, debt payments, etc. It's just too much for one person. Yeah. So that's why you should be working. First you get married, and then you do the finances together like you're already doing it. And then you work instead of go to school, at least for the time being, till you get in a better situation. So the idea we've been floating is he moves back in with his parent about 200 kilometers, 120 miles away. Thanks for doing the conversion for me. And I go live with my mom. It's not that far, maybe an hour and a half drive. But within, you should be living separately anyway until you're married. If you want to live together, definitely stay together. Live together, but maybe you can't go to school right now. And you got to work. With him working full-time and me studying, yeah, again, you going to school doesn't have to happen. You just think it does. See, again, the people get stuck in their own dumbness, and they think something that they had planned, they think they 100% have to do it. You do not have to do it. Even if you paid in advance for it, you can still defer to the next semester or something like that. My goodness. People are nutty. Where are we at? Me studying, we won't see each other much at all. It just feels like I failed. Well, you are doing a lot of stuff incorrectly. Like I messed up. I mean, getting into debt is bad, but I did it as well. I might have felt like I failed on that. But again, you accept the reality of that and quit whining about it and make it better. Like I couldn't make adult life work, and now we're backtracking. Yeah, you're backtracking, right? I mean, you're not actually backtracking though. Going into debt was the backtracking. Letting it get out of control was the backtracking. Now is where you start making up what you backtracked previously. Has anyone been through something similar? Yes. Going backwards in order to go forward financially. It's not backwards. It's a specific choice that you're making to make your finances better. It's not going backwards. Dumb. People just have the wrong mindset. You're so dumb. Probably younger as well. And so, yeah, that's just like I was. And so you make stupid mistakes and then you have to fix them. And you don't consider it going backwards. You're not. You're going forwards in a good way and not a bad way like you were previously. So you can feel better about that. Did it help in the long run? How did you emotionally deal with that kind of change? You have to accept the situation first. You accept the reality. Again, reality right in front of you here. And what you do is embrace the reality. You forgive yourself for being a total dumbass like I did. And then you make your financial situation better like I did. But yeah, you're not locked into going to school in late August. No, there's still time to defer that to the next semester, the next year, whatever. And if you want to live together, that's fine. Again, get married at the hall, at the, what's that called? The Justice of the Peace, City Hall. Get married. You don't have to have a big showy wedding, and that's most people's excuse for not getting married yet because they don't have the money for a big ass wedding. You don't need a big ass wedding. Direct ad 2096. I don't think this is one. It doesn't say promoted on there. Advice on best course of action for 54K credit card debt. I wonder what that would be. I wonder if the advice on best course of action would be to pay it off as soon as possible. And in order to do that, I'll read it in a second to see what dumb crap they're thinking. Because they always do. Almost always. Not always. You would do step one. Save $1,000. If you have other money in savings, all that money goes to your debt in step two. So that's what you do. And you don't do anything else. If you have more savings already, you're not in step three yet, so there's no more savings than the $1,000. All that money goes to the debt. If you're investing, you stop that dumb bull crap now. And it's not dumb bull crap to invest. It is dumb bull crap to invest while you have non-mortgage debt, though. So you would stop that, and all that money goes to that as well. If you're putting money to kid college, if you are putting extra money to your mortgage, that would stop as well, and all that would go to your debt. You're on step two. You're not on any of these higher steps. Just because you have non-mortgage debt, so that's step two. That's not just because you're paying off your home early, sending extra to the house. That doesn't mean you're in step six. You're in the lowest one that applies to you. And that would be for you, step two, probably. Maybe step one. Hi, I'm looking for some clarity on our current debt situation. You have 54K credit card debt. is the current clarity. Pay it off as soon as possible. As we just started following Dave Ramsey's steps. Great. Gonna follow the steps. What else? That's the best course of action, and you're already doing it. What's the problem? We're not in collections or missing payments, but we do want to get a grasp about fixing this now before it gets worse. Great. What is the problem? What is the problem here? What is the thing that makes you special and needing to write this instead of just doing it as the baby steps say to do? 54K in credit card debt spread across 6 cards. Most of it is recent from a big milestone trip that won't be repeated. Dumb. 8K in crypto. You would sell that immediately, which my spouse is emotionally attached to. I don't give a damn about that. That's gone. Any savings is gone, just like I said. All that's gone except for $1,000, and that $1,000 is not going to be in crypto. Emotionally attached to doesn't want to cash out, hoping it'll grow. I don't give a crap. That is not the advice. Do you want to follow the advice, or do you want to do your own dumb crap, which is how you ended up in this situation in the first place? My spouse is self-employed, so while his income can be high, it's inconsistent. Okay, that doesn't change anything. He wants to use 8K in cash to pay off the highest interest card now. That's not how you do it either. The Ramsey advice is smallest to largest. But he was also planning to reserve that for next year's tax bill. We owed $15K in taxes this year, so we don't want to have nothing. So inconsistent income, maybe working for himself and not saving taxes as he goes along. That's more dumbassery that you're doing. And so I would assume if nothing changed, and he's going to make the same amount of money this year, I would assume you would owe about the same in taxes. So you do need to get ready for that. You do need to prepare for that. And the taxes would be more important. That would be part of getting current, which is part of baby step 0. You get current on anything. You're not behind on any of your bills or anything like that, any of your payments, but you are behind on taxes. So unless you can cash flow that $15K in April or whenever you would owe it, whenever you would file there by April of 2026. So we don't want to have nothing. Yeah, and so I get that, wanting to reserve that. And so you should definitely be addressing that before starting the payoff for the... and so if it's 8K now, that means you'll still have time to save up for that somewhat. And so hopefully you can pay off the 54K credit card debt. You being able to do it by April, probably not a good chance of that. But one thing you got to do is cut your freaking lifestyle. Excuse me. I have a consistent income and we've tightened our spending. Tighten it even more. You've not cut out everything that's not 100% necessary. Do that. And then that way you have the best chance of having enough money to both pay off the $54,000 in credit card debt and the $15K in taxes. What would you do in our shoes? Quit being dumb and follow the Ramsey advice. Would you use the 8K cash towards the highest interest card? No, you don't do that. You don't do anything based on the interest at smallest to largest amount of total debt on like each individual card in this situation. And figure out taxes later if you can. If you were able to figure out taxes last year at the last minute, then theoretically you'd be able to do that again. Otherwise, you might want to keep that for taxes. Sell the crypto, yes, even if it can increase, and use that for debt. Yes, or for towards the tax bill. And that 8K and the crypto 8K would take care of the tax bill. So I'm not believing I'm even saying this, but you could even leave the crypto in there and cash that out in April, But your luck would be that it goes way down in April. Hold both and just chip away with extra income as it comes in, and it's always another option than the dumb ones that they suggest. The dumb ones meaning that they don't have to suffer as much, they don't have to sacrifice as much. Any insider experience would help, especially from others in self-employed or inconsistent income household. So what you got to do about that is not be dumb and assume that you'll have enough money for the low income months. You need to plan in advance for that, perhaps a hill and valley account, which means it's like an extra emergency fund for when you don't make enough money to pay your expenses, and that would be something that would take precedence over debt payment as well, unfortunately. So the problem is you got two different things: the taxes and the inconsistent income that work against you, and they actually take priority above paying off the debt. So that is the problem there. So work more as well. Self-employed, maybe working 60 hours all week. If you can work more, do that. When you say our debt situation, it doesn't say what our income is, and we'd have to know that. And also cut everything out. It's a common theme here. You cut everything out of your budget that's not 100% necessary to live, while you sacrifice for a short time, also known as a hashtag season, and you get your finances in shape. Let's do one more. Affectionately 9413, getting repo car back from Odessa. Okay, so they repoed the car and it's coming back. I don't know why. Let's see. Car was repoed last month and is super frustrating because I didn't know I could tell the tow driver to leave and come back another day. I didn't know you could do that either. If I had, I could have paid off what I was behind because I just started a new job. Excuse me. Anyway, I didn't, and the car company wants the full remaining $26,000 to redeem. It is at Odessa Concord. Don't know what that is. I'm trying to find a dealer who will bid on the car for me. I have a very high income, $300,000. Why do you have car debt then, you dumbass? I was just out of work this winter. Why do you have a car financed, you dumbass? Had a death in the family. Sorry about that. No, but that doesn't give you an excuse to go into car debt. Had to spend all savings, etc. Doesn't give me an excuse to have been. You got in the car debt first. You could have bought a cheaper car with cash before that. One dealer said they would work with me, but then wouldn't approve me for financing because my repo was too recent. Yeah, you screwed up. So I don't know what the answer would be there. I don't know what the answer would be there. So you make 300,000, and so the same thing here. So you had to spend all savings as well because of the death in the family, I guess, and being out of work for the winter. Okay, and you can't go back in time and not be dumb and not be out of work all the winter. So you can't do that. So you have to see if you have any assets that you can liquidate into money to apply to this $26,000. Otherwise, you just let the car go and you buy a very cheap one cash instead. And so, yeah, that's going to be negative on your credit. But good thing for you, we don't care about credit when you're following the Ramsey advice, when you're following the baby steps. Because you're not going to do debt anymore from now on if you're smart. Alrighty. And let's see, I think the next stream is Wednesday morning, I think, is the next one for another after show on Wednesday. Xavier W152, what Ramsey personality book should I get? I've been eyeing a couple books, specifically Breaking Free from Broke and Total Money Makeover. Total Money Makeover is the flagship book, and that was written by Mr. Ramsey, and so that one definitely would work. Breaking Free from Broke has a lot of the same material covered in it, but you might, being younger, if you're younger, you might appreciate George's writing style better. He brings the snark sometimes. So you could do both as well. I've FPU and what do you mean? I've taken FPU maybe? Financial Peace University, and honestly, you can just say, and I didn't pay much attention to it. You don't have to do the honestly disclaimer. I would believe you if you just said, I've FPU and I didn't pay much attention to it, because you didn't pay attention to needing another word there. I've taken maybe FPU. As it was a bad #season, props. Get a point there for using one of the words of the day there. In my life, and now a year after I'm taking it seriously, period. I've got the money in the budget for some books that'll come out of my fun money. Okay. Also, you could get them from the library as well. And really, I have enough to get both, but should I get both now or get one and get the other later in the money? Get one later in the money, or possibly next month. Okay. I would say stop drinking before doing your Reddit post, first of all, and don't spend your fun money on alcohol is what I would suggest. But yeah, there's a thing called a library where you can get books. 1 million mortgage balance. What do we do? No other debt besides mortgage balance. Want to get a debt, 78K non-taxable brokerage account. Yes, you should not have had the non-taxable brokerage account until the house was paid off. So you did it wrong. So yes, you should liquidate that to pay off the house. Easy answer. You're doing it wrong. And you know darn well you're doing it wrong too, or you wouldn't have asked. C6J7, do I need more life insurance? No children. You do have a wife though, so you want to have at least enough to bury you and to replace your income. So generally you want to replace the income, so you would be insured for 10 to 12 times the amount of your annual income, and then when invested, that will make exactly your income average per year. And so that's what you would do. If you don't have kids, you really don't need any life insurance unless, if you don't want to be tacky. I mean, they'll find something to do with your body for sure afterwards. But if you don't want to be tacky, maybe you save enough for your burial to pay for your burial. Or get enough life insurance to just pay for your burial, which would be really cheap. What's happening, and what do you waste money on the most without considering how it makes you feel? Considering how it makes you feel is why people waste money, because they think it makes them feel good, or it temporarily makes them feel good, or whatever. We'll get into that. What was the life hack that's so good you loathe to even share it? That wouldn't be. Oh, that's an ad. Dumb. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's do the plugs, and I'll tell you when the next streams are. And you've already been seeing those in the ticker below. Once again, I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you are having money problems, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, or just need to be told that you're a dumbass, you can give me a email. Not a call, but an email. Send an email, coachstevemoney@gmail.com, and we will schedule that appointment. Donations can go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, CashApp, $CoachSteveMoney. It wasn't taken. Walmart gift card to that same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com, which you can also use for asking any financial questions, any questions about anything on my YouTube channel. Upcoming streams, as always, subject to change and at the last minute as well. The Ramsey Show After Show, 11:05 a.m. Eastern, Monday. That's this one that I'm finishing now. And the next one is Wednesday, August 13th. And next Monday, August 18th. How about that? And answering your financial question streams. There's going to be more of those, at least planned. 8 p.m. Eastern time. That would be Thursday, August 14th. Saturday, August 16th. Sunday, August 17th. Sunday. Just like a, oh, what's that called? Demo derby. What's that called? With the where the cars run into each other and stuff. I can't recall. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day. Sleep.